Hey guys, this is Panther8644 back with another TrackMANIA Nations commentary. This one's going to be a lot more of my normal ones where I have a topic. The last one was very information heavy, and this one's going to be more back to normal. But before I get started, I threw this in at the last video kind of quickly, so I wanted to make sure everybody kind of got their voice heard. But I'm trying to get games going with you guys, and it's been kind of funky because YouTube comment, reply, personal message. It's not the best, it's not the best way to actually get into contact with people. So I was wondering if I should get a Twitter. It would make it easy for you guys to shout out at me, so I would know, oh my gosh, these guys want to play, and it would also make it easy for me to let you guys know when I'm available to play, because it's kind of funky with how my schedule works. Sometimes I want to hang out with my girlfriend, but sometimes I'm just sitting here by myself, and I would love to play with you guys, so that would make it really easy for me to get games going. So let me know what you think in the comments, if I should get a Twitter or not, and we could get something going like that. So into the main topic of this commentary. Very recently I was watching a video of one of my favorite commentators' top 10 games of 2012. And the top game on the list wasn't some AAA title, it wasn't like a Call of Duty or any of that kind of stuff. It was, and I'll get into the specific game later, but it was a game that he chose it was #1 because he had the absolute best experience in it, because it evokes such crazy emotions in him, that it was more of, apparently the game was only 90 minutes long, and it was a $15 game, but he said that it was so worth that money for the experience, because the emotions inside of him as he was playing it just made it worth it completely in the end. And those are the kind of games that I would classify as my absolute favorite. Just because that's the reason why I prefer games over almost any other type of media. You get so tied to these characters that if something happens to them, whether it's in game or just in the story, it affects you in an emotional level. There's been a couple games that have done that to me. The most recent one is just a little indie game called To the Moon. I would highly recommend it. It's on Good Old Games, GOG.com. I got it during a sale for $2, but I would 100% recommend it if you're looking for an emotional game experience, because as I was playing it, I wasn't really sure in the very beginning, because the gameplay itself isn't, it's nothing special. It's kind of a point and click. You go around finding things, and it's nothing, it's not going to win any awards for its gameplay, but the story is amazing. I was really confused in the beginning because I'd read all these reviews, and actually from that YouTuber that had the top 10 list, he even recommended it because it was an emotional game. So I was like, oh my gosh, he said he almost cried during it, so I want to check this out because I love that experience. So I went ahead and picked it up during the sale, and the first little bit it was slow. I didn't really understand why everybody was getting so emotional about it, but as the game went on, I just couldn't put it down. I feel like the emotional games are the hardest ones to put down for me, because I always get so involved in them. I just can't put them down. And this was definitely one of those times. I loved every minute of it. I'm not going to spoil any of the story, just in case you guys end up wanting to play it. But it was a phenomenal experience. It was totally worth it. It was, I think, a 4.5 hour game, with error and reading the entire story. There's no actual voice acting. It's all red text. But for red text, it was extremely emotional. I think it was one of my favorite games. If you do play it, pay attention. That's not one of those games where you can just kind of put it on and walk through it. You really need to read the text, pay attention to the little things, because there's a couple hidden things in there that after you figure them out, it makes so much sense. The story is so much better. I can't say enough that's good about that game. Highly recommend it. Another game that did that, not to the extent that To the Moon did, because that one was very emotional, but just some more good storytelling and making characters that I care about and want to see the best happen to them. It's actually my guilty pleasure game, I would say. It's, you know, sometimes certain people are like, I'm embarrassed to tell them, but it's Kingdom Hearts, actually. If you haven't heard of it, it's a game where your main character has this thing called a Keyblade, and he needs to go shut these like portals to darkness, whatever. If you want to actually get the story, you can play the game. Highly recommend it. But it has that same sort of, like, you know, you get emotionally attached to these characters, and then when certain plot elements happen, it just kind of affects you in a certain way, and I really love that feeling. It's, I don't know, I can never really get that in a movie because I'm so distant. Like, I can't control anything that happens in a movie or in a book, but in a game, like, it's me. I'm the one that's, you know, making this happen. It's amazing. So Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2, I haven't played any of the like PSP expansions, all that kind of stuff, but or the DS ones. But oh my gosh, that game, when they come out with the third one, I even promised myself that I would physically go out and buy a PS3 for that game specifically. They haven't released it, they haven't even announced it, but that's what that game did to me. Like, I just enjoy it so much that I would be willing to go out and buy a console specifically for one game. But like that sort of story-driven like madness that I get into, like those are the games that I look for. Like a couple that I've played more recently that aren't on the emotional level, but they just have like such good stories. I would definitely recommend Bioshock. It has pretty good gameplay. When I first played, I didn't really like it, but when I actually sat down and played the whole thing through, I loved it. Amazing twists. It was I don't even I can't even talk. It just kind of, it was a great, I love that game. If you see it on Steam for cheap, pick it up. Totally worth it. Another one, Bastion. Highly recommend that game too. Amazing story. Probably the best narrative I've ever played. The way that they portray the story is genius. It's absolutely genius. So both those, Bioshock, Bastion, pick those up if you get them for cheap. Even if you don't even want to wait for a sale, just pick them up. They're totally worth every penny. You know, if you're into FPS, and Bastion's like top-down, sort of like Diablo style, but there's no loot and stuff. You know, that kind of point and click, beat 'em up. I don't even know what you want to classify it as, but the game that started this whole commentary, that even got me thinking about emotion in games, the one that the YouTuber said was his #1 game of the year, its name is Journey. It's a PS3 exclusive on their PSN store. I don't actually have a PlayStation 3, so I can't even try it, but yeah, it's called Journey. So if you guys have a PS3, pick it up. I guess it's $10, or $15 as I said earlier, but I would say if you're into that kind of, you know, emotion and stuff, it just from the video that I saw and him talking about it, I immediately wanted to pick it up, and the first comment in the video says, "Why isn't Journey on PC?" So I was a little distraught right there that I couldn't even try to play the game, because as you guys can probably tell, I really love that kind of story emotion, and the way that game sort of looked, it just seemed so appealing to me. I'm a little sad that I can't actually play it, but who knows, maybe we'll get a port over to the PC and I can play it and enjoy it for what it is. But yeah, I mean, emotion in games, it's just, you know, I love action, I love great mechanics, you love a good story, but if you can hit that emotional chord, specifically with me, but I know, you know, in a lot of gamers, if you can hit that emotional chord, it just makes the game so much better. And it even makes it so that, you know, when I'm talking about these games later, I can't recommend them highly enough. I mean, To the Moon and Kingdom Hearts are now some of my favorite games that I've ever played in my entire life. And Bioshock and Bastion are some of the best narratives that I've ever experienced through gaming. So, you know, emotion in games, I think it's one of the most powerful things you can do as a developer. So I always look out for those kind of games. But thanks for watching. Comment, like, subscribe. I always appreciate it. And have a nice day.